Hi everyone, Kelly MacDonald, your off-road chef. A little different twist on everything because a lot of my segments you've seen me backpack. I love car camping, just being outdoors. We have a sportsmobile behind us today, so we have some comforts from home. So we're going to do a different twist on things. You can kind of go big when you have a vehicle like this that supplies, refrigeration. So today we're going to do my version of eggplant Parmesan without Parmesan. We're going to use a jalapeno habanero mixed cheddar, sharp cheddar. So first step on this is to prepare your eggplant, and then I'll go over the rest of the ingredients, but we want to get this going because it's going to take a couple of minutes. And my wife is Italian and she taught me the proper way of doing this. Even being a chef, you learn different cultures, and being French trained, it's fun to always learn different techniques. So what we're doing is taking the eggplant, slicing it. My experience with eggplant is it can be room temperature unless it's been refrigerated, and it'll last quite a few days in a cool, out of the sun place. So very important to know about storage, because storage is precious. I use a little canister like this when I'm car camping in any kind of way, and it has my salt, pepper, different kinds of salt. I love different sea salts, so this is a nice mixture with the pepper in it. And just a nice easy way to store it. So you can put it in your shelf. We're going to heavily salt just one side. You can see it's sunny, that's okay. What we're trying to do with this eggplant is get it to oxidize and juice. So there's a lot of water in eggplant, and what we want to do is make sure that we get some of that sap, as I call it, out of the eggplant with the salt. And then we're going to pat it dry in just a few minutes, and with the sun shining on it, it's just fine. So a nice heavy salt, probably a quarter teaspoon on this eggplant, and then we're going to let this sit for about 5 minutes, and we'll get back with you on the rest of it. Okay, so now one of the things I didn't mention before is I go about almost a ½ inch on my cuts of this, because we want it to be nice and meaty, like a Parmesan, eggplant Parmesan, not so Parmesan Kelly style. And you can see how it's sweating after it's sat for about 5 minutes. And so what we want to do is pat this dry, and I'm having it on an angle so you can kind of see what I'm doing. It's not a lot, you don't need a lot, just a little bit, just like that. So our next stage after we do that, the paper towel is pretty wet from that. So the next stage is to take the eggs, nice big yolks, and then we're going to whisk them a little bit with my spatula, just for the batter. We have breadcrumbs, any kind of breadcrumbs. I use Italian style breadcrumbs. I find that to be my favorite. You can make your own breadcrumbs, put whatever seasoning you want in there. I use a little bit of salt and pepper mixture as I did before. And then we have our breadcrumbs in a pan like this. And I'm actually going to add just a little bit more because I know I'm going to need them. And our other ingredients, while I have time to kind of talk about that, I'm using a Italian spaghetti mushroom mix, dried, a lot better than jars, easy to pack. So I'm using that for the sauce. And then I have some sun-dried tomatoes, some quail eggs, which I'll explain later, and then our jalapeno sharp cheddar. So instead of Parmesan, we're going to go ahead and get our camp stove going. Have a little extra virgin olive oil. I use small little bottles. That's always a fun thing to wash out and use. So I have a generous amount of olive oil in there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to bathe these in some egg. And we'll get a couple of them going here. You just want to get them wet. You don't want them really eggy. And it's basically the vehicle to get the breadcrumbs to stick to the eggplant. You don't have to be too gentle with them. I go back and forth just a little bit, patting them. This ensures that there's a nice breading on there. We're already hot. You can see the smoke coming. I'm going to go ahead and put these in nice and hot. And then what we're going to do, we're going to turn it down a little bit. So now that we've got that going, we're actually going to make the sauce right in this pan with the eggplant. These are going to cook nice and brown, and then we're going to add all our other ingredients in there, and then slowly cook it just to get that all the eggplant flavor. See, they're already nice and brown. Now, if one isn't, because you're always going to have a hot spot on a stove, especially a camp stove, even your stoves at home have it, hot and not. We're going to go ahead and turn a couple of these so that they're nice and brown on either side. So what we're going to do is flip it back. Don't be worried about that. You need to kind of toss them around a little bit. Then let's add a little bit of sun-dried tomato. I'm allowing the sun-dried tomato to get a little warm, but not burn them, because they're already dehydrated. We want moisture in the pan. So we're going to add a little bit of water. A little more salt and pepper. And then we're going to turn up the heat just a little bit. This is a very simple dish that can be done pretty quickly after a good day of just having fun around the lake, or hiking, biking, whatever your flavor of exercise may be. So you can see I have this on pretty high heat. I usually do recipes of 4. This would feed 4 people. I would do it in 2 batches. This mixture is good for 4. Now what we're going to do is add approximately half of this spaghetti mixture. And this has Italian mushrooms in it as well, porcinis, probably some ceps. And that's going to soak up the moisture, so we're going to just kind of eyeball it. So I'd like to help you with the water, but you're just going to have to make it saucy. Just remember, saucy. We're going to reduce that. Show you a little twist on this. So I have it on a little higher than medium. I brought some quail eggs from my ranch. So I really like my Parmesan with an egg on it, extra protein, kind of fun, a little different. And I like to go outside the realm of just Parmesan. So that's why we have something spicy. And from my other segments, I think you know that I like spice. You can go without it, that's up to you. Or you can be brave and try what I'm doing. So we're getting this to reduce. And what we're doing is we're finishing the eggplant and stewing it. And so it's okay to flip it. The breading's not going to come off. It's on there. We have a nice hot pan over here. So I have this pan, and what I'm going to do with the quail eggs as a nice little surprise, I went ahead and turned this off because it's getting nice and saucy, and it's right where we want it. So kind of in charge of your destiny on how thick you want your sauce, because it's going to reduce. So you add a little more water, it's okay. You're still going to have the flavor there. Just add a little at a time so that you don't have a problem later on. So, because you can't take the water out, you can always add more. So we have a nice hot pan here, and then we're going to take my farm-raised quail eggs that I raised myself, and we're just going to put them in the pan with it off. A little salt and pepper on top of them. You can do it like this. One more time. Maybe one more time. All right, there you go. That's why I don't play basketball. We're gonna do them sunny side up. Our eggs are cooking without any heat because I turned it off. Sunny side up. You can do this with regular eggs too. Get it nice and hot, turn them in, and if you want to flip them, if you don't like them medium rare on your eggs, that's fine. You do it the way you want. I won't judge you. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take and flip this eggplant one more time, because why? It's really hot on this side. Then what we're going to do is add our cheese. Just like that. Then we're going to turn it on for a quick second. Well, not a second, I'm exaggerating. About a minute. And we're getting ready. This is the exciting part. Other ingredients. Switch out the cheeses, as I mentioned before. You can put, lace it with salami. You can do all kinds of, a little bit of ham in it if you wanted. I mean, the sky's the limit. It's up to you. But you don't have to stay traditional, and it's all about the protein. It's all about, you know, what you're craving, because you're working your body hard probably during the day. It's always good to have a nice meal. This is a great dinner. We want the cheese to be intact a little bit. We want it to be the meat, right? Kind of a highlight of this. That's why I don't like to do the Parmesan. I want something nice and thick on top. So we're going to go ahead and turn off our heat, and I'm going to serve 2 on a plate. I'm really proud of this dish. I'm really excited about eating it too. If you were here, I might share a little bit. So then we have, again, you can use a regular egg just fine. Sunny side up is kind of cool, but if you want to do them over easy, over medium, over hard, that's fine. But this, with a little bit of sauce, and see how this turned into a really nice sauce very easily? I'll clean the plate because I like my food to be sexy no matter where I'm at. Sorry my back's to you right now, but this is an outdoor meal in a sportsmobile. And I rhymed it and I didn't even think about it. This is Chef Kelly McDonald, your off-road chef. Bon appetit.